Have you ever wondered how artists like Gene Dawson, Dijon, and McGee create such tasteful sounding grit and distortion in their music? Listen to these tracks for example. It sounds raw, there's so much energy, and you think to yourself, how do they do it? Because every time I add distortion to my track, it just sounds like I'm deep throating the mic.
Nice.
Fear not, because in this video, I'm going to show you a better way to add grit to your track. But in order to do that, you first must learn what bit crushing actually is. Bit crushing is the act of degrading the quality of your audio signal. This produces a warmer, harsher tone that adds distortion, grit, and edginess to your sound. This is what a typical sine wave sounds like right now. Hear what happens as I add bit crush to it. It starts to sound more distorted and a lot grittier. This is happening because of downsampling and bit reduction. But what are the differences between them? Essentially, downsampling is like reducing the number of frames in a video. It's like downgrading a 60 FPS video into lower than, 20 FPS. Pay attention to the sound as I reduce the number of samples. Bit reduction, on the other hand, is like playing a song on a tall piano instead of a grand piano. Listen to the difference. Hear the difference between downsampling and bit reduction when I apply it to the same melody. Now that you understand what bit crushing does, you still need to know what plugin actually has this effect in your DAW. So what are they? If you're on Ableton like I am, Ableton has Redux. For Logic users, you have Bit Crusher, and for FL Studio users, you have this plugin called Fruity Squeeze. If you're on any other DAW besides these three that I just mentioned, don't worry, here are a list of free external plugins that you can use as well. Now that you know what you can use for the bit crush effect, how do you use it? You can bit crush virtually anything. Keys, drums, guitar, bass, and even vocals. Let's start with the drum loop. This will be my example. First, I will take the Redux effect and put it onto the drum loop. Remember what I said earlier that the bit crush effect is made out of downsampling and bit reduction? Well, for Redux, downsampling is on the left and bit reduction is on the right. Notice what happens when I start tweaking the setting of the Redux on the drum bus. It starts to sound more distorted, grittier, and even starts to have this like lo-fi effect. As a bonus, I like to map an LFO to the mix so that it's random throughout the whole song. In fact, I believe this is what McGee does to his drums in
Elise's.
You can also do this for vocals. Here's a song that I'm working on with my friend Curse. This is how the vocals sound like before I apply Redux.
Who's a real monster if I'm counting stars? Who's a real monster if I'm counting stars?
Versus after.
Who's a real monster if I'm counting stars? Who's a real monster if I'm counting stars?
In fact, I believe this is how Gene Dawson got his vocal to sound like this in porn acting. It's also a very quick way to thicken up a sound in your track. It's a technique that I've shown to my clients who struggle with thin sounding tracks. It really helped to elevate the production in such a short space of time. If you're interested in my help, you can click on the first link in the description. You can use it on synths and keys as well. The thing is, you now learn how to use the bit crush effect, but the bad news is, without the good mixing, you can still ruin your track and risk your effect not shining through. If you don't learn how to mix your tracks properly, nothing I showed you in this video will work, so watch this video next to learn my simple formula to 10x your mixing with minimal effort. I'll see you there.